If Saturday morning cartoons fueled your imagination as a kid and powers your action figure collecting now as an adult, then you're in the right place. Thanks for stopping by, and welcome to Saturday Morning Toy Collector.
And if you like my content, please consider subscribing.
Hi everybody, welcome back to another exciting episode of Meet the Collector. You know I love to do these, they're so much fun. I do them every week. I skipped it last week because we wanted to promote the AWOC show, The Tribe, but we're back at it again. And this week my guest is a good friend of mine, Blake, a.k.a. ReconRage. You know him from Instagram, you know him from the Cabal. How you doing, buddy? How's it going?
Oh, I'm great. I am very excited. This is going to be fun.
Yeah, man, this is going to be great. Now, we've kind of known each other for a while, but I always say, like, if it's somebody I only know online, I don't really get to know them until I've done one of these, because this really is a deep dive into, your collecting habits and, sort of like everybody has a collecting story. Some of them are pretty similar to other people, but everybody comes at this whole thing that we do and that we love in a completely different way. So let's just get right into it. What was your favorite figure growing up?
First, it was Kenner Star Wars, and it was my Chewbacca figure. Believe it or not, I love the Chewbacca and Han Solo. I remember standing in snow back in the day, 4 nights in a row, because the two theaters you used to have back then sold out, just waiting to see Star Wars with my dad. So, any of those figures that I could get my hands on and really tangibly touch them and be connected to Star Wars was just absolutely amazing for me. So it's a very fond memory. And so that would be them.
Yeah. Did you have a specific figure out of all of those? It was like, was it?
Greedo. I don't know why I like him so much, but I do. And every time there's a figure released to him, and I'm really been working with a couple of the customizers in the community, talk with them to do a Greedo either a Cosmic Legion or a Mythic Legion, custom, and I would love to have that.
Yeah, man, having a Rhodian in Cosmics would be killer.
Yes.
Yeah, I have a very distinct memory of having because I used to grind my teeth when I was a kid, and I had ground down my 4 front teeth on the top, and I remember having to go to the dentist and have them pulled, all 4 at the same time, and I was terrified. I'd never had a tooth pulled. And my mom was like, all right, if you hang in there and you're brave, then what I'm going to do is I'm going to buy you 4 Star Wars figures. And it was the Kenner Star Wars. And you can open them in the lobby after you're brave and you have your shot. So I had to go back and I had to get the shot, because I think that's what I was more worried about, was the shot. And I got the shot and we went out in the lobby, and I remember opening up Hoth Luke, Hoth Han, Chewbacca, and then C-3PO with the pull-apart limbs that went in Chewbacca's backpack. And those were the 4. And I very distinctly remember like sitting in the wood-paneled dentist office and opening those figures. So I have a huge fondness for Star Wars. Like Kenner Star Wars is just. Do you collect a lot of the new retro, like the Hasbro retro line?
I did, and then I've kind of stepped away. I've kept a few. I've cherry picked the ones I want, but I kind of moved on. And I know we'll get to this in another question, but as the Four Horsemen's figures have become more mainstream, and I've been in on that with Four Horsemen since the 3rd wave. So I really started heading that direction. So making room and making money to move forward in other figures has kind of directed me away from some of the stuff I don't collect anymore.
Yeah. I really love the retro line. I hope they keep it going, but I really only buy like the old Kenner Star Wars, the original trilogy retro. Like when they do the new stuff. I've got a couple, I've got like a Darth Maul and like a Mando, but to me, I like the Kenner repros. I think they're really good. That's kind of like where I keep it with them. So I always say, like there's a period of time like where some of us like move away from collecting for a while. Maybe it's in high school, maybe it's in college. Sometimes we're lucky enough, and I'll get a collector who's never had to move away from collecting, been able to do it the whole time. I think Cloud said she did that. But what about yourself? Did you have a period to where like you kind of stepped back from it or stepped away from it a little bit, and then clearly you came back to it? So what was the figure or the line that like brought you back in when you did?
So I've been waiting. Yeah, we knew we were going to do this, and this question
Yeah.
was actually a very big question for me, a very actually personal question for me that I've done a lot of soul searching on. So when I graduated from high school, 2 days later, and I was off to the Marine Corps boot camp, and from that time on, I spent the next 20 plus years in the military and law enforcement, and during that time, and I hate to admit this, but it's part of just me growing as a human being. During that time, I was in such a tough guy role per se
Mm-hmm.
that I lost a little bit of who I was as the kid.
Yeah.
And collecting action figures and going and telling your fellow Marines or telling your fellow officer buddies, "Hey, I just got a Boba Fett figure and it's really cool." It wasn't cool,
Yeah.
even though it was cool. It was just me having to learn and understand and get myself back, especially back from the Marine Corps. I had to do some deprogramming from my time in the Marine Corps and get my kid side back and allow Blake, the kid that grew
Yeah.
up in North Chicago, that was very happy, that came from a wonderful family, after all that I had seen and gone through over my years in the military. It allowed me, it was therapy. And it
Yeah.
was in Denver in 2007. A buddy of mine's like, "Dude, you want to go to the Denver Comic Con?" And I'm like, "Sure." And I had just ended literally that year. I had stepped away from my career with law enforcement. And I was like, "Sure, yeah, I'll go. I think that stuff's cool." And I knew in my heart, I was like, "Oh boy, I don't know what's going to happen, but let's go." And I was walking around the table, and there it was, McFarlane Spawn. And that has been a big thing for me. I love, as a kid, I was a very accomplished artist. I used to draw comic art and stuff like that. And
Nice. Yeah. Very cool.
so Spawn, Iron Maiden albums, used to love to draw Iron Maiden albums, Dio albums, you name it, I drew it. If it was cool, Franzetta, Conan the Barbarian, anything that was badass and macho, I was
Yeah.
all about it with my pen and paper. And so when I saw Spawn, and Spawn spoke to me because Al
Military.
Williams is
Yeah.
a Marine.
Yeah.
And so the storyline, the character, the dark lore, and let's call it how it is. The evil characters in our worlds, our lore worlds, are the coolest and most complex and unique looking characters. They're the
Yeah.
funnest characters to collect, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, that started my itch and my journey back to getting back to who I was when I left that parade grounds at my high school graduation in North Chicago. And I finally felt like I was coming back. I was finally getting
Nice.
my kid side back. So yeah.
That's really cool. Yeah, I watch a lot of you're probably familiar with him, Bobby B, B's
Oh yeah.
Battlegrounds
These
on
battlegrounds.
YouTube.
Yeah.
And one of the things that I really love about his Joe reviews or Valaverse reviews is that, I mean, I can tell that he's ex-military. He knows all the terminology. I always am excited when I learn some new word. He doesn't always explain what he says. Like I think he was talking about shoulder armor one time, and he said it was DDPs or DAPs or something like that. DAPs,
Yes. Yep.
and
Yep.
I was like, wonder what that stands for, and it was like deltoid armor protection or something like
Yep.
that. I don't remember what it was, but he doesn't explain it. He just says, "Here's your DAPs," and so like I appreciate like he's able to bring like his military knowledge into those figures. Now I don't know if he's retired or if he still has one foot in, one foot out. I don't know. So I don't I don't know. I'd love to interview him one day, but yeah, like I always like I don't know like is he out of the military and like it's just really cool. He doesn't seem like he cares much, like if somebody was like, yeah, that's not cool, you could be in the military and find this cool, like I don't think he would care very much. But no, yeah, that's one of the things I love about his reviews is like the insight he's able to bring. And so yeah, I always enjoyed his stuff. But no, that's cool. I really appreciate that. So McFarlane, very cool. Do you have like I mean this is not one of the official questions, but do you have a current like is there like do you have a favorite McFarlane figure?
Um, yeah, I like all the new ones. I like all the old ones too. I mean, I really like Todd's level of detail in his
Hmm.
sculpts. I think he's been known for that forever. Obviously, the Four Horsemen worked in sculpting stuff with Todd, so I think that's a really neat correlation.
Oh yeah.
My
Yep.
favorite figure, obviously, oh gosh, it's a tough one. I would have to say that the last two, even though the Commando spawn and those two that they just put out, that
Oh
he
yeah.
just released about, oh, I think about 5, 6 months ago, I
Yeah.
think they're really spot on. I think they're really good. They're the Mortal Kombat ones. Um, I did go in on the all in on the medieval spawn, and that is an excellent spawn. I didn't do all
Has it
three of
shipped
them.
already? I didn't even know it shipped.
Yeah,
Oh,
I've got both.
nice.
I got both. I only did two. I did the classic blue, and then I did the all black. I didn't get the
Nice.
silver one. And I'm going to tell you,
It looked
when it
incredible.
comes when it comes to classic spawn, that is my favorite figure. He knocked those out of the park by far.
Yeah. Yeah, that's really cool. I think if I remember correctly, when me and my buddy Randall were coming back from Legion's Con, we got off the plane in Jacksonville, Florida. And I live in the Panhandle, so we still had about a 2.5 hour drive home. But we literally stopped and we were like, let's get some snacks and drinks for the road because I think we landed at like 10 and I still had 2.5 hours to get home. And we went into like a Walmart right outside the airport and they had both of those figures and I bought them. I literally had just got off the plane from spending God knows how much money at Legion's Con and bought both of those figures, both of the spawns from the Call of Duty.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yep,
yeah,
that's it.
they were fantastic. I'm like, I don't play Call of Duty. I don't. I didn't even know Spawn was in Call of Duty, but I love cool Spawn figures. Because he came out. Spawn was like right around the time I was in high school and going into college, and I thought I wanted to draw comic books for a living. I didn't realize it would be 20 years later before I started drawing comic books in my 40s.
Nice. All right,
But
you got there.
but but you finally get there. You finally make your way in. But yeah, I've always loved McFarlane's artwork and Sam Keith. Man, I love the Max and stuff like that. Liefeld when he first came out like blew me away. Jim Lee. But yeah, no, that's really cool. I have to do this. This is just something that I have to do personally for my own sanity and my own like because I'll buy too much. But do you have any like rules or collecting like guidelines for collecting?
I like the Amazing's answer. I collect what I want.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, I don't want to sound arrogant in the aspect that I'm some rich dude or something like that. I'm not. But I collect what I want in the means at which I can collect them. Like,
Right.
and I've gotten really, how do I want to say this? I've gotten a lot more specialized and picky over the last 2 years. It's really kicked in, where I've purged a lot. I used to collect 1/6 Hot Toys and with
Mm-hmm.
112, and then I think you know this by my Instagram and some of the stuff. I'm a huge Joy Toy Warhammer,
Mm-hmm.
so I never thought I would get back into 3 3/4. And Joy Toy's phenomenal. Let's just
Yeah.
put it that way. When it comes to 3 3/4, good luck anybody out there on knocking them off of their pedestal for that scale
Yeah.
and size because their stuff is ridiculous. In the Warhammer line, it's licensed, with Games Workshop. They have a great partnership and they have been blowing it out of the water. So to answer your question, I had to not only room wise, how much money I was spending. I'd sit back and look at go, wow, like how I just spent $400. Like, and
Yeah.
not that I was upset about what I got. It's just, I needed to put some rails on myself a little bit better on some, accountability. And, you know what I'm talking about, Mark. Have you ever been
Oh
like where
yeah.
you haven't bought a figure and then you're like, you go to the store and you start looking around in an aisle and you're like, oh, this is cool. Maybe I'll collect this. And I'm like, I had to stop doing that because I
Yeah.
was like, I like a lot of figures and I think figures are artistic, 3D tangible forms of people's talents.
Oh
So
yeah. 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 Yeah.
to hold it, pose it, take pictures of it, put it on your shelf, it's all good to me. As you can
Yeah.
see standing behind me right here, those are all the new Sonic the Hedgehog figures with the
Yeah.
glass eyes, the shiny eyes, and the light ups.
Nice.
That was one of those exact situations. I went to Target and they had that 4-pack of the Sonic from the movie. And I was like, oh, these are cool. And I was like pushing them, they talk and their eyes light up. And I was like, well, I don't really collect this, but these are too good to be. Next thing you know, I got them all, and I'm not going to get rid of them, but the end result is it's one of those checks and balances for me. It's like, all right, be careful. You only got so much room. And so.
Yeah, I have to be careful with Joy Toy Warhammer because so I'm not a huge Warhammer fan. I have Space Marine 2 on my PlayStation and I love it. It's fantastic. I love that game. It's great. But I never grew up playing it. I never played the minis. I've never painted the minis. I've never gotten into that. I've never read the books, the lore, anything like that. But I love a really cool mech suit, dude. I love somebody like a really cool, awesome suit of armor. Like I'm down for that. And the story looks really cool, and the
it's
visuals,
amazing.
like the visual language, the DNA of that game just looks of that world is incredible. And I had a couple of the McFarlane Warhammers for a while, and then I was just like, well, I can't really move them and pose them. And then I got to mess around with a Joy Toy Warhammer figure, and I was like, oh, this is good. Like, this is really nice. But I was like, okay, I'm gonna get 1 or 2 and a bike, and like that's it. I'm not gonna. So I have like 4 or 5 of them, and I love what I have, but I can't go down that road because it is a very slippery slope. I would buy a lot, and me and Andy the collector share Warhammer Joy Toy images back and forth, and they're really sneaky too because they'll put out a figure and that figure will be like $34.99. And you're like, that's great. I can get that one. And then they'll put out one that's really cool, but it's even more awesome. And it's like $74.99. You're like, oh, that looks really great. And then they'll drop a huge monster on you that looks great. That's fantastic. And this armor is so elaborate. And it's like $2.99. And you're like, wait a minute, that was a huge jump. Like, wait a minute, guys. Like, what all does this do? Like, so I got to be careful with those. Those are tough. But yeah, and I know exactly what you mean about getting into stuff just because it's cool. And you're like, I have no need to collect Jada Street Fighter. I don't. I mean, I like Street Fighter just as much as the next guy. I grew up playing it, but I kind of liked Mortal Kombat more when I was a kid. I like Street Fighter more now as an adult. But those figures are just fun, and they're on shelves, and they move so great, and they're such a great value. They're like under $25. Like, I can't turn them down, and now I see one, and I'm like, I just have to get them. But yeah, I have to keep myself reined in very much. But you touched on this a little bit with the money. Do you give yourself a budget, or I mean, I have to. There's just no way around it. But or do you just at the end of the month you're like, I may have spent too much. Next month I'm gonna hold off a little bit. Or
so transparency and vulnerability here.
This is not therapy.
No, I know, but it feels like it in a little bit, and that's not a bad thing because I've watched all of your interviews and a lot of the lives.
Thank you, man.
We talked about this,
it.
and yeah, that's awesome. And echo to everything that Trevor and Bill and Cloud and D Amazing and Toy Bro and everyone has said. When it comes to this question, I think we all have said kind of the same thing, just in a roundabout manner. And mine is, yeah, no.
Yeah.
I got bills to pay. I'm a grown individual with responsibilities.
Yeah.
I have a decent living, and I'm blessed for that. But you never know what could change in a drop of a dime or tomorrow, right? So.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I kind of keep it reeled into a certain area. I don't set a specific budget, but what I do is if I get where I maybe buy a little too much this 2 weeks or this month or whatever, then I actually go in and go, ain't taking that out of the box. I should probably just sell it because it's been sitting in the box for a little while. And a couple nods, one nod to Trevor. I was on Legion's Lounge a while back, and he had me on as a guest, and I showed him my collector room. And he's like, dude, it's awesome. Get all that crap out of Boxo, and he was giving me a bunch of garbage about it. And he had a good point, right? You can't really enjoy them. I know there's certain things you keep in a box. There's certain unique stuff that the packaging just, but I've gotten really good of making sure I get everything out of box, enjoy them, take pictures. I love doing the photography, as you've seen by my Instagram page. So yeah, back to, not to deviate too far from the question. I would say I have like this homing beacon of budget that I stay within, just kind of knowing my expenditures and costs and what I have in the bank account, and what I really need or don't need. And then I let that guide myself off of that.
Yeah, I have direct deposit into my Venmo account from my work, and so like I have like I have a little bit of money every 2 weeks that just goes into my Venmo account. It's
Mhm.
officially sanctioned by management, and by management I mean my wife,
Oh
and
yeah.
uh, she and then at the end of the month we have a very intense conversation about how much I went over because
Yep.
she's like, okay, she goes, 'cause she doesn't see anything that comes out of Venmo, she doesn't see it, and then she only sees it when it's like the 20th or the 25th of the month, and then stuff's like, why is there a BBTS on our bank account? I'm like, hey, yeah, I ran out of money, and she's like, yeah, I don't care. So yeah, we I have to keep, boy, gosh, it's tough. Now I really like what you said about going into Target and finding the Sonic figures and finding them to be like super interesting and wanting to pick them up. What is your, because I don't know, like you're in Oregon, right? So
Mhm.
like
Yes, I'm out here in Oregon.
what is the toy shopping like there? What is your percentage of toy hunting? Is it mostly online like everybody, or do you get the opportunity to shop in stores?
Well, I have the opportunity. I live in the Portland metro area, and so we have a lot of Targets and Walmarts and stuff in the area, and not a lot of collectible toy stores, which is really sad. One thing I love, growing up in Chicago, back in that area, and then to the East Coast, there's lots of toy shops and stuff like that. You don't have a lot of them out
Mm-hmm.
here, which is really odd. Um, it's a very eclectic and I would say geeky collector, type world out here. But yeah, the toy stores just don't represent out here. There's not many, unless you go mainstream. And I don't know. I mean, depending on whenever this video is watched and whoever is out there watching this, it depends, right? You go into a Target, Walmart, half the time they're obliterated. There's nothing in there.
Yeah.
And then other times you walk in and you're like, oh my God, I hit the magic hour. I mean, this, like, one time I was driving along and there's a town not from too far from here called Sherwood. And no, Robin Hood does not live there, but I know somebody else that does. That's a big fan of this community. And I walked into that Target and I was absolutely besides myself. The NECA section had just got restocked. Every single gargoyle that was I wanted was there. Every single custom, like the McFarlane Gold Label wall Warhammer figures, the good ones, like the one-offs that you really like, they were there. I'm like,
Yeah.
I literally walked in there like, you know, and then I walked out $230 later.
Oh yeah.
I was excited, but then it all of a sudden it hit me and I took like half of them back. But,
Oh no. Yeah.
yeah, it was one of those ones, it happens every once in a while. Most of the time, sometimes you get that itch or you get so excited and you just like, oh, grab that. And I haven't seen that on shelf. I know they don't even have that on Amazon or whatever. I better grab it now, FOMO,
Yeah.
you know?
Exactly.
So,
Yeah,
yeah. So,
I love coming across something that I have pre-ordered in the store, just so I'm like, ooh, save me $1, from Big Bad Toy Store.
oh,
Check it
yeah,
off
that's
my
great.
list.
Yeah.
That's always fun. But yeah, there's just some stuff that I think I collect just so that I can find it in stores because it's such a rarity. I live in Tallahassee, and it is a college town. It's also a
Hmm.
government town because we're the capital, so we have a huge. We have massive employment here. There's lots of
Right.
big employers with the government and the university. We have two universities and a college, and so we have a lot of Targets. We have a lot of WalMarts, but they're always obliterated. Like every once in a while, I'll find something cool. Every once in a while, but yeah, it's tough, and so we don't have a lot of comic book stores, which is weird because you think we would being a
Hmm.
college town, but yeah, we really don't. And so yeah, I would say mine's kind of like
Yeah.
90
Well,
10.
the younger generations, and I say this, they're not, our generations are very much into comics and physical,
Yeah,
media and stuff. And I think a lot of them are more digital. So, when you're in a college area, a lot of the college kids aren't collecting comics the way we did when we were younger,
right.
and so I think
Yeah, yeah,
there's a reason for that. But yeah, to answer your question, because of the figures and stuff that I've moved into also, which is another part of that answer,
yeah,
basically, I can't walk in and find Mythic Legions or Cosmic Legions or Joy Toy Warhammer or Medi Toys or Memory Toys or, any of the World of Warcraft figures. Like I like some of those off figures like that. I can't find those on the shelf. So it's very rare that I find
yeah,
something unless it's maybe NECA or something at one of the big, providers out there, the big, retail boxes.
yeah. We have a huge toy store over in Jacksonville, which is about 2.5 hours to our east, and it's called Mythical Mountain, and they have nothing. I mean, it's not Mythic Legions related, but they do have a Mythic Legions section. They have a Joy Toy section. They have a huge NECA section. It's just a
Oh,
massive
wow.
toy store, and it's really cool. And we have family that live there, so anytime we go over, I always have to hit it up because it's really cool. It's like really the only toy store that I can drive to. But it's 2.5 hours away. I've got Orlando's 4 hours to my south, and Atlanta's 4 hours to my north. So yeah, it's not. I have to drive if I want a big place like that. So you already mentioned your room and some of the collection behind you. Where are you right now in the house? Where do you keep most of your stuff?
I keep it wherever I want. I'm single.
Yeah, right. Okay, yeah.
My
That's the
my
best.
place.
That's the best.
When I did my when I was on Legion's Lair with the boys, and I went on my show. It was funny because Mike Caspar answered me. Asked me a question like, I kind of have a question for you. Like, do you have like toys in your living room? And I'm like, I have professional showcases. And by the way, all of those, and there's two over there, are all full of Joy Toy Warhammer. Yeah.
Wow.
And then
Incredible.
I have a 2 bedroom, 2 bath townhouse. And so the extra room, most people would have it for visitors or something like that. Not this guy. I have it for visitors. My visitors come from FedEx, UPS, and from foreign
Yeah.
countries in New Jersey and stuff like that. And they're
And they
little
never
anywhere.
leave.
Yeah, they never leave. And I put surveillance camera there just to see if they like do things when I'm not around. I haven't caught them yet. But that'd be fun. But yeah, that's a collector's room in there too. So,
Nice.
yeah, I like it because, I've had some people come over, friends and stuff like that. And they just stop by and they're like, this is really cool. Like I wouldn't do that at my house, or like some of my buddies, like my wife would never let that go. Like
Sure.
that would never
Oh yeah,
happen.
yeah, yeah.
But yeah, I guess, you consider this when it comes to collecting the ultimate man cave, I guess. So
I dig it.
it's fun.
I dig it. Yeah, yeah, yeah. My wife she's like, yeah, you're not putting this in the bedroom. This is not going in the living room. Yeah, it's not happening.
Was a
So it stays.
necronominus like on a shelf over the bed looking over you?
Nah. Nope. This is not happening. But no, I really do appreciate that. I always think that that's really cool when like I speak to somebody and like their partner is either a collector or is like okay with them, having, the stuff around, which is really cool. Yeah, my wife's not into this kind of stuff. She's okay with me doing it. She's just like, it's just not her thing.
Well, it's great she supports you, though. That's the key. She does
Yeah,
support you, and that's awesome.
yeah, a little bit. I don't want to give her too much credit because she has to keep me in line because I'm squirrely. I'll get squirrely on you. So I probably already know this answer, but what is your percentage of collecting like in package versus open?
Oh, it used to be probably 80% of my stuff stayed in packages, and they were on shelves. Used to be.
Right.
Now I'd say at least 75% of it's out of box.
Oh wow,
On shelves.
very cool.
Yeah, I've really worked on, and what I mean worked on is the display and enjoying. One of the things I found by like getting through this is, I would take them out, take a picture, play with them for a little while, pose them. Oh, this is really cool. Wow, I like the deco, all that good stuff, and then put them back in the box. So it wasn't like I never took them out. And I always had this fear, Cloud kind of mentioned this in her video about, I know she's living somewhere like with some friends and stuff, and if they move, right? And I always had this thing in my head, if I leave them in the box, it'll be easier to move if I leave this townhouse and go get a bigger house or something. And so that it was a weird mentality that kind of held me back. And then I realized I'm going to enjoy life while I'm here because nothing's guaranteed tomorrow. So let's do this. So
absolutely.
Yep. Started getting everything out of box. Got a lot of these IKEA double door glass cases, other display options. Anymore. Yeah. No,
isn't that weird?
That's an odd one because that's a big seller.
This is like one of the most popular things that we sell in this store. Let's just stop carrying it. Sounds like a great idea. Okay, sure. I don't think that like the Swedish executives were going, well, what is this going to do for the toy collectors in America? Like, what's it going to? I don't think they were factoring our needs or our wants into that decision. But yeah, no, that's crazy. Yeah, I had a whole bunch of details. I think I had at one point. I think I had like 8. And I ended up just like selling them. I couldn't get. I mean, I ended up selling them on like Facebook Marketplace for like $25 a pop. You know,
Wow.
and I have one. I have one left. I give two to a friend of mine, and he was like, "You want them back at some point? You just come get them." And so, like, I may go get them because he's not too far away. But yeah, otherwise they're all gone, and I just have one. But I keep a lot of my my retro like '80s stuff, like authentic '80s stuff in there. So probably already know the answer to this, but maybe I don't. Seeing your Warhammer collection, what's your preferred scale?
Oh, absolutely. The 112, like,
Right. Yeah.
or and I kind of stumbled for that measurement because 112th comes in different slash 110th. Like,
Sure.
I really like the Four Horsemen scale.
Yeah.
Okay. McFarlane obviously makes some things a little bit, even some of them a little bit bigger than that, but they're not that bad. I think they have such a great shelf presence when at that scale. I collect GI Joe, and I have all the GI Joes from Hasbro, and they look cool. And I'm glad they're not much bigger because I'd have no room. Like to
Right.
the way they're doing, they're doing an excellent job on that.
Oh, they're crushing it. Yeah, that's the one thing that Transformers and GI Joe Hasbro, you can't touch them. They're fantastic. Star Wars, Marvel Legends, there's a lot to be desired there. There's a lot that they could do to improve, but yeah, I can't think of. Yeah, I mean Transformers and GI Joe, they're crushing it. I mean, and again, that's their proprietary IPs, right? So like, it makes sense that they would, put all their heart and soul into that. But and you're
Absolutely.
right. And then Joy Toy is like 1/18 scale, but those mechs are pretty big. Like I keep telling people, I'm like, I have some that are like 5.5 inches. So I mean, it's like
Oh,
almost
yeah.
6 inch scale. But then you throw it up next to a McFarlane, which is more 7 inch, and then they're even bigger than that. Then it's like they're way out of scale, and of course you can't put them together. But and then, yes, 1/12 is all over the place. If you're collecting Marvel Legends or SH Figure Arts, it's going to be smaller. Mayfex will be, it's just kind of like all over the place. But
Yeah.
yeah, you're right.
So in my 112th, I have like categories. There's like the Mythic Legions and like third parties that all seem to kind of go well with each other. And then there is Monster Force, Valaverse, and GI Joe. I lump them in the display together.
Yeah.
And then obviously Joy Toy has their own displays because they're just in this unique bracket. And then I don't do any 1/6 or anything oddball anymore. Not because there's not really cool stuff in it. I just money, time, room, and what kind of flows.
Yeah. Yeah, I got out of 1/6. I think at my height, I probably had 40 to 50 Hot Toys, all Star Wars, all Star Wars.
Yeah.
And I got out of it. And now I'm really excited for their Hono Studios line.
Yeah.
If you're keeping up with that, like their budget friendly line, I've got the Wolverine back here, which I
Right.
really love. I mean, it's like 165. I mean, sub $200, and they're now starting to do Star Wars from Star Wars Rebels, which is kind of dangerous, but because they're still sub $200, which is great. Speaking of GI Joe, I meant to ask you a minute ago. Did you get Crystal Ball today?
I did. So I'm really methodical. So I'm an organizational like freak when it comes to, so I literally put every release in my calendar on my phone with
Oh yeah, yeah.
anything I want. And so it came up and I had Walmart pulled up and I went and, there's a secret to this. And I'll throw it out there. Anything you want off Walmart, especially Walmart, go in early, search it, put it on a list, add it to your list. And then when you go in, when the like Collector Con that's going on right now, the McFarlane Collector Con, I go into Walmart, make sure I'm logged in to my app. I pull up my list, which was Vintage She-Ra, Vintage Faker, and Crystal Ball. And so the lists are there. And what happens, a lot of people don't know this, what happens as soon as it goes live, your list goes live. You don't have to go back and search and put them in your card.
Oh, nice. Very cool.
So then what I did was I just go add, and then I went to Crystal Ball and put 2 in there because I wanted to display them with both looks. Check out, and I had everything within like 15 seconds.
Yeah. That's fantastic. That's a good little tip. Thanks for sharing that. I didn't ever think to do that, but that's really good. Yeah, no, I logged on right on time. I got Crystal Ball and I got the 77 Spider-Man just because I love Spider-Man. I
Oh
buy
yeah,
pretty
that's a
much
good
anything
one too.
Spider-Man.
Yeah.
And I have the Japanese like Spider-Man, which
Mhm.
I
Yeah.
love, which is kind of built on that same body, which is why there's no butterfly joints. I know people are freaking out about that, but I'm like, it's not itchy. This is not Mayfix. You know, like
Right.
it is what it is. It's okay. Marvel Legends is fine. You know, it's like it is what it is. But yeah, then I saw it was sold out like everywhere. Like at Walmart sold out, has Repulse sold out, Crystal Ball. I'm kind of scratching my head why they would make such a popular character be a Walmart exclusive. Not just an exclusive, but a Walmart exclusive because that's like you're almost 50-50 you could be canceled. B, you're never going to see it in stores. And then I have 5 Walmarts in my area, and I don't think any one of them has sold a G.I. Joe in over 2 years. Like
You're
only
right.
one of my Walmarts even carries the vintage card, and they had I have one Walmart that still has Gung Ho and Lady J. That's it. So when anything is a Walmart exclusive, if I miss it online, I know I'll never see it in stores. It just is not going to happen. So
I know a figure that you can still find from Hasbro.
what
Lando.
was that? Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah,
That one.
dude. Hey, less than 3 miles from me is a Walgreens, and they still have the first wave of Star Wars Black Series from The Force Awakens. They've got Finn and
Wow.
Poe and Rey and Constable Zuvio, and they're all $24.99. It's 3 miles down the road. I
That's
go in there from
awesome.
time to time if I need to pick something up, and I just check to make sure they're there. Nice thick layer of dust on top of them. They're on the bottom row. I just make sure it just makes me feel comfortable knowing that they're still there. Like if I need Zuvio, within 3 miles, I can go get him. It just makes me feel good. What was the last action figure that you bought, whether in person or online?
I did a live stream from the Washington State Toy Show this
Oh,
weekend.
I saw those. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So of that handful, I bought like what, like six or, I mean, it was a killer deal. I mean, I got two Spexians for like $28 a piece, brand new.
Yeah.
Incredible. But the big takeaway on that one, oh, yeah, I think it was the Spexians I really enjoyed the most, that I got out of that group, that grouping of figures that I got from all the wonderful vendors at that state show there in Washington. It was a fun time. And for walking out with $56 with two brand new Cosmic Legion Spexians, I mean, killer, right?
Yeah,
So,
that's a good deal. Yeah, I had a friend of mine who was like, "Dude, you need a Spexy," and I'm like, "Dude, I hate bugs. Like, I don't mind killing them and getting them out of my house, but I don't want bug toys. I don't like bug levels in video games. I don't like bug movies. Like, I just don't like. I'm just not a fan of bugs." And he's like, and he's a toy dealer, so he's like, "Dude, I've got so many of these Spexians. Like, here, you're taking one." He gave me the blue one, so I don't know which one that is. Minor engineer, I have no idea. I don't know,
you
but
want
the
to stop?
blue
I'll
one
grab them.
is that's the one I have. And he's cool.
Yeah, they're both sitting right here.
Yeah, that's the one I have. I have that one. I have that guy.
So I got
Yeah,
him,
yeah.
and then I got the Block Commander.
Oh, okay. Yeah, yeah, yeah. The block commander. I didn't know their names.
It's
But yeah, when
amazing.
they recently did the heads packs, that was the only head I didn't get because I was like, yeah, I don't really have a need for any of the. Because I think it was like, oh, here's the helmeted version, and the one that I have is the only one that has a helmet. So I was like, yeah, I'm
Oh
good. I
yeah,
don't need that.
yeah. No, they're awesome. I mean, it is what you like, right? That's why there's so many different options out there for us collectors.
Yeah, yeah.
And
Yeah, I
it's a
think they're a
great.
cool design, and I dig them. And I know that Eric loves the Sphexians. It's just not my cup of tea. So this is probably going to be. I don't know. I'm kind of nervous to ask this question because I don't know what's going to be your answer. Like, what's your current favorite toy line?
Okay. And I knew this question was coming from
Yeah, I
watching
thought
all
it was
the
going to be
videos.
Mythics for sure, but now I look behind you and I'm like, I don't know, man.
Um,
Warhammer may.
okay. Four Horsemen, 100%. And here's why. It's not just the figures and the innovation and the design, the detail, the quality, the paint sculpt, the soft goods by CJ Jessam. C. Jessam. It really has to do with the community. I mean, the
Yeah,
figures are absolutely phenomenal. And you can tell that the Horsemen pour their love into it because they're fans themselves and they take care of us. I mean, case in
Yeah.
point, the Dragon. We all know the
Right.
Dragon campaign's going on right now. What an amazing option to have an amazing Dragon. I was there. You were there. We saw it in person. So I would say that without a doubt, anything Four Horsemen, Figure Obscure, Cosmic Legion, and Mythic Legion, and their one-offs.
All
That
the
is
other
my
stuff that's
favorite.
coming.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
A close second to that would be the Joy Toy Warhammer, just because I love the lore. The figures are absolutely amazing, and I will quote Bill from Dorklayer. They're literally hand candy. They're
Oh yeah,
very
for
much like
sure.
Glyos. You put them in your hands. Now, you don't
Hmm.
pop them apart like Glyos, which a lot of people don't realize you can. The Joy Toy
Right.
actually
Yeah.
pop apart. Yeah. So, but they just feel really good. It's a good
Hmm.
quality plastic, really cool sculpting. They do an amazing job on it. So,
They have a good weight to them. I honestly think like some of the parts must be made out of metal because some of them there's a heft to those figures. They're really good.
yeah, some do actually have metal joints. Yeah, there's metal joints, and then they just use their type of plastic is just really just it's got
Yeah.
like when you anything you buy, there's some things like you pick up your cell phone and you're like, this kind of feels cheap, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Joy Toy is the one you pick it up and you go, this feels good. Four Horsemen, you pick those figures up, they feel good. Like,
Yeah.
and yeah. So,
Very cool.
winner goes to the Four Horsemen. Runner up, Joy Toy.
Yeah. Now I'm not going to mention. I'm not going to mention what toy line this was, but I will say over the week this past week, I had a question about a figure that I bought from a line that I'm very new to. I only have like one of these before, and I went to their Facebook group. I had a customer service issue, so I went to their Facebook group that sprung up around. It's like the one that's got the most people in it. So I joined that group, and I was asking a question about customer service. I was like, "Hey, how long does it typically take for somebody to get back to you? It's been a few days. I was just wondering. I'm not freaking out. I just wanted to know." And and like immediately, like the conversation was, are you an idiot? Do you not know how this works? Like, you must be a noob. Are you an effing noob? And like one guy was like, dude, you just need to calm down and like just wait, give him time. You're like, and I'm like, I totally forgot. I was like, oh, my bad. I forgot I'm not in the Cabal. I forgot. I should have known better to come and ask the internet anything. And it just immediately hit me that like I would never get that response on the Cabal. Like it wouldn't happen. You go in there, and no matter how new or veteran you are to the line, if you ask a question, there's going to be like people like falling over themselves to answer it and get you the right information and help you any way they can. And so I get a little spoiled sometimes. I get a little I take it for granted. I forget that every group is not like that. So no, I get it. I feel you. Absolutely, 100%. Yeah, the line is incredible, and the people around it are just fantastic.
Absolutely.
Do you have a current favorite action figure today?
Today, I was going to tell you that Dragon's going to be my favorite action figure when it
Yeah,
gets here.
right.
Um, that's a tough one. I know that question. Like I've said this before, I know the question is coming, and it's a really tough one because there are so many different cool ones in different formats and sizes and colors, shapes, and all that stuff. If I had to grab one figure and run, Necronominus is
Oh,
pretty
okay.
amazing.
Yeah.
There are a lot of awesome figures, and it's really I feel like this question sets me up for anybody that's watching this to go, yeah, like.
Yeah.
But for
No,
me,
it's not your favorite of all time. It's just like, what is your favorite today? Because you know how D was like, mine changes every minute with every figure that I
oh,
pick up. Mine
agreed.
changes daily.
Yeah.
Not hourly, but daily. Mine changes every day. My current favorite figure right now is this guy, the Barbarian.
Oh, I wish I
From
can't wait to get one of
this
those.
is this is stupid. This is stupid awesome. Like this guy is. I don't care what anybody says. Mythic Legion, the Four Horsemen sat down and said, "How can we make the coolest Conan figure out there?" And they did it. Like this is it. He's staying. I took all of the other Necronominus figures off my desk. This is the only one I have on my desk. The rest are on their shelf. I had Elijah up here for like 3 weeks. But yeah, it's him. Like, and it changes daily. Like he'll probably be here for a couple of days, and then I'll go on to like whatever. I very much have recency bias. Whatever's the most recent thing, I'm like, oh, that's amazing, and I love on it for like 3 days, and then something else gets in the way, and
You
whatever.
brought up
So
Elijah. That's another
he's
front
so
runner
good.
right there. And
He's so
then
good.
the combo that I do have that just is just absolutely amazing is Sir Gideon Heavensbrand and Bishop together.
Oh yeah, 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 yeah,
Those are that's an amazing
yeah.
team right there.
Greg and I opened him Saturday on Double Jointed, and I was like, "Ooh boy, like he's gonna give Elijah a run for his money. This figure is incredible. I can't wait to get Bishop." My plan is at Toylanta in a couple of weeks. I'm either going to come back with Necronominus, or I'm going to come back with one of the horses. And I think I'll probably will do Bishop if they don't have Necronominus available for me to purchase. I'm sure he'll be there, but if they sell out before I walk in the door. But yeah, there we are. We're at the halfway mark. We've got 10 questions down. So we like to take a little break right here, little intermission for everybody to get up and run to the bathroom. But don't want to miss out on your socials. Tell everybody where we can find you.
One simple location, the ReconRage page at Instagram. Obviously, I follow everybody through different formats, but that is my main outlet. And I am in the Cabal, but that's just under my regular Facebook under my name. And then ReconRage page at IG.
Okay, cool. So it's just on Instagram, it's just Recon Rage page, no underscore, no.
Yeah. Yeah,
Okay.
no underscore, and I just redid my design. I was all happy to
Yeah,
roll that one out.
that
So yeah,
logo looked incredible. Yeah, I'll
yeah,
run it
it's
down
pretty
below
cool.
and everybody will be able to see so we know where to find you.
Cool.
Sweet. Well, let's roll on. Let's go into the back 10. We'll get into it. Do you collect anything besides action figures?
Um, I collect certain video games. Like I had to buy Warhammer Space Marine 2, and I got the collector's edition with the steel book. I love
Nice.
something about steel books. I'm one of those geeks when it comes to movies. There's certain steel books. Like I just ordered the Last of Us season 1 steel book that's up
Nice.
for pre-order. I got both the Mando season 1, 2, and 3 steel books. So I really enjoy. I don't collect everything on those, but I do like some steel book movies and video games. Really neat. Kind of memorabilia. It's pretty neat.
Nice. What do you play Space Marine 2 on?
PS5.
Oh, so do I. Okay, we're switching gamer tags after this because
Yeah.
yeah, I need somebody to play with. I love that game. Okay, so I feel like when I have somebody on from the Cabal or from the people who collect Mythic Legions, I have to give a caveat because I think everybody knows that what pre-order are you most looking forward to in 2025? And everybody's going to say the dragon. We now know that's not coming until 2026. So do you have a pre-order on the horizon for 25 that you're really looking forward to?
Well, there is one pre-order. Well, no, there's a couple. So All-Star 6, I'm really excited about All-Star 6, and that should be right around the corner-ish.
I need a break from Necronominus, so take your time, guys. Slow it
Yeah.
down. I'm good.
All-Star 6, and I went really heavy in on All-Star 6. There was just too much, not only standalone figures, like Gorthok that I didn't have. I love the Shadow
Yeah, but the
Orcs.
re-releases, yeah, there's some bangers in there.
Yeah, there's like some really good stuff in there. I think Clavian's in there, isn't he? Is Clavian
Yeah,
in
and then
there?
Sir
Yeah.
Ignatius, which I don't have, and
Yep.
I got him on pre-order. Yeah.
Yeah, and of course there's a bunch of skellies and stuff that I'm all about the Necron. I'm a huge
The rest of the
Necronomicon faction.
Templars, I mean, yeah,
Oh yeah,
it's
yeah. The
gonna be
rest
it's
of the
gonna be a
Templar. I
banger
mean,
wave.
it's going to be killer. So that's the one I would say. Obviously, the bear and that whole
Ooh,
you
yeah.
know that whole series. I don't know if it's going to hit this year. If it is, it'll be cutting it close. It'll probably be post Legions Con 25. But yeah, I would say All Star 6 is the one I'm looking forward to. And I am really kind of interested where they're going to go with the figure Obscura. We usually get one in May, April, and there's lots of people starting. I love that line because it's just fun. It pops up. Bill from Dork Lair does his really cool thing. We all get together in the morning and grab our cup of coffee. And out here on the West Coast, we're really early.
Yep.
And
Yep.
and then all of a sudden, this thing unfolds, this beauty that you're actually going to get shipped to you right away and have in your hands. So I love that option.
Yeah. Yeah. I have. I bet you that we are not going to see that next figure Obscura before the Dragon campaign ends. I can't imagine that it would be good for the community. I think there'd be an outcry if people are like, if they drop, like a $70-$80 figure while there's a campaign going on for the Dragon. So as much as I'm ready for it, because this is the one that, is like, well, we know it's not going to be Halloween and we know it's not going to be Christmas, right? So like, this is the one that I get really excited about because I really I want Beowulf and Grendel. I want that 2-pack so hard. And I had finally met Cornboy and talked to him at this past Legions Con, and I was like, you guys probably get this all the time, but figure Obscura, Beowulf and Grendel 2-pack. I mean, come on, like it's a barbarian and a monster. This is gonna happen, right? Like just tell me it's gonna happen in the future. That's all I need. He goes, well, he's like, I can't say it's not gonna happen, and I'm like, it's all I need. I need it. Thank you. I just need to know that it's coming.
Plausible deniability. Got it in.
And so I get excited for this one. So this is the one I'm really. I mean, I love Halloween. It's my favorite holiday. I love what they do for Halloween. I love what they're doing for Christmas. But this is the one I'm really excited about. But I don't know. I don't think we're going to see it for that Dragon. We're going to have to get past the Dragon.
Oh, I think we're going to see it because the Dragon ends on April 6th, the pre-order. Yeah. So I think it's going to come out in May.
Yeah. So I'm excited for it. I can't wait. I'm ready and waiting for the. I mean, I don't care. Like
maybe we'll get a crazy Easter bunny.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. Okay. So, what is a figure or a figure line that has not been announced by anybody that you would love to see made?
Oh, no doubt on this question. Has said it on other ones. Battlestar Galactica.
Oh, okay.
Absolutely. Nice. Cylon Raiders, you name it. I mean, Battlestar Galactica has got so many opportunities. And there's a few toy lines I could see doing it some justice, but it would be Battlestar Galactica, hands down.
Okay. Who like right off the top of your head, who would you like to see get in on that?
Oh, God, I'd love to see the Horsemen do it, but they're so knee deep in their own stuff that I don't think they have the time to do that.
Right.
Joy Toy?
Hey, there you go. Heck yeah. All right, so that's going to perfect segue into my next question, which I love these questions because these are speculation questions. If you could take one toy line away from a current manufacturer, producer, and give it to another manufacturer or producer, what toy line would it be and who would you give it to?
Well, I like Mortal Kombat. Mm-hmm. I like that line. And I think that Storm has done it very good justice. I have all of those. And I'm very happy with them. But I think Jada would do very well. Yeah. And I know this has been brought up before. Jada would do an awesome job with Mortal Kombat. Like
I totally agree.
Traditional.
100%. Yeah. I was very kind of disappointed when I saw that McFarlane was diving heavily back into Mortal Kombat because it looked like for a good long while he had lost the license and he wasn't going to be doing anymore. I think it's been a couple years since we've seen any kind of release at all from him, and I was like, ooh, does this mean Jada could be getting it? I got really excited, and then I saw just at Toy Fair he showed it said no toy photography, but he went back there and showed them all. They look good. I mean, I'm glad that they're more classic designs,
Okay, I was going to ask you because I didn't see that part. Is it classic? Oh. Because all his others were off of like 10 and 11, like the new Mortal Kombat. He wasn't going back to the classic stuff. And there's two things with
classic stuff. I think it's Mortal Kombat 2
Oh, wow.
And it was a an Instagram video. It may also be a YouTube short, but it was on Instagram. And it's a vertical video. So yeah, I think he
Okay.
shot it for a short. And he showed off Liu Kang, and he's got the red and black pants. So that's Mortal Kombat 2, because in one
Nice.
he just had the black pants. He showed off Raiden, Sonya Blade. No, 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 not Sonya Blade. Sorry, Melina,
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 yeah.
and then I think the first two that are coming out are Scorpion and Sub Zero.
Of
So they were
course.
the first two he showed, and then they were in one display, and then in another display it was Raiden, Liu Kang, and Melina, and it all looked like it was Mortal Kombat 2. And the really cool thing is that the boxes look like an arcade cabinet, the way that Jada is doing the Street Fighter, because you can see the packaging in the back, and I really like that. And then when you put two packages together, it's like it kind of makes the Mortal Kombat screen. So like one
Oh,
half
that's
has the
cool.
fight in one corner, and then like their health and stamina or whatever. So the packaging looks really nice. But when I saw that, I was like, dang, I really want Jada to be doing that. And then two, I was like, maybe he is losing the DC license, because looks like he's pouring a lot into other lines. So I don't know. I don't know. We'll see. If I'll try to go online and find it, and I'll tag you in it so you can see
Okay,
it.
perfect.
Probably know the answer to this question, because I think it's pretty much been just about everybody's answer. But what's your favorite Toy Con and why?
Oh, hands down, Legion's gone.
Yeah.
You know what I've seen in like Zolo and Toy Atlanta and Mesquite Con and some of these other ones. I definitely want to get there, and they look fun, and they're part of that Legion's community that's really driving those.
Sure.
But I will tell you, Legion's Con, it's a religion. It's an
Yeah.
emotional experience, man.
It's a mecca. You gotta make it every
Yeah.
year. It's a
And
pilgrimage.
what's really neat to see this year, I know there some were there last year, but it was really neat to start seeing a lot of these toy tubers and a lot of these other uh, well-known YouTubers and people in the what do I want to put it, in the toy world, coming to the Legion's Con, and
Yeah.
spending time like Robo.
Mm-hmm.
And it was nice. I was an intern for a day this last year. I got the
Nice.
awesome
Congrats, dude. I didn't
opportunity.
know
And
that. That's awesome.
yeah, so I got to sit there. It was just funny. I'm sitting there with the amazing talking and Robo, and I mean, just obviously everyday guys, everyday toy collectors, but just a lot of really good people. Toy Bro. We ran over, me, Bill, and Toy Bro ran over to one of I forgot the name of the grocery store that's big over there across
Oh,
from
Wegmans.
Wegmans, because we wanted to grab a few
Yeah.
things. And I put some stuff in my refrigerator because I'm a workout freak, so I wanted to get some yogurt and stuff. And still trying to keep healthy. Well, I'm still drinking at night with everybody, but we won't
Sure.
go there.
Yeah.
But yeah, so just I'm sitting there just going, wow, I'm just hanging out with all these wonderful human beings. This is awesome. So yeah, that's like I said earlier, the community is second to none. And the overall experience of anybody that goes to Legion's Con, I would bet my next 6 paychecks on the fact that you'll leave there absolutely happy and your heart will be full.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, no, like you said, it's really good. Like I'm going to be going to Toyland in a couple weeks, and like Pixel Dan will be there, but he'll have a table, and Dan Larson will be there, but he'll have a table. So
Yeah.
like you're going to the con to like buy stuff or whatever, but you're also going to the con to see that person, right? Like
Mhm.
Robo's going to have a table there, but Legion's Con's not like that. Like you go to Legion's Con and you're there, like everybody's there for the same reason. Robo's there, Dan's there, Bill's there. Like they're all there, but they're there for the toys. You're not there to see them. You're going to see them, but they're going to be in a line just like you are. And it's the great equalizer, I think. I really like that. It's really cool. Boy, I have a ton of these, but do you have any collecting regrets? Did you ever move something on you wish you hadn't, or
That's a tough one. I would say there's been a lot of collecting regrets in a different form, and that's not what I've gotten rid of. It's how much I allowed myself to buy and waste some money on some stuff I shouldn't have done.
no? Yeah, yeah, yeah,
So kind of the
yeah,
other way, right? Where I've bought stuff and then I'm going, what am I thinking? Why did I like, I mean, they're cool and everything, but Blake, slow down. Like, like you can't have it all. And
yeah,
so I would say my regrets, my 1/6 scale, like absolutely love 1/6 scale. They're amazing figures. But at one point at my highest, I had over 200 1/6 scale. And about a year and a half ago, I started purging them out. And, I used all that money I paid off some credit cards. And then I turned around and used all that money for Legion's Con. It was really nice to have that buffer, but it was a big learning lesson for me. And I shared this with Trevor too on the live stream, I think the 1/6 pack, about how, it was a learning lesson for me around curtailing how much I spend and what I get involved in. So that would be my thing. I don't think there's one figure. I almost sold my Pit figure, and I'm so glad I didn't. I love Pit. And a few years back, this guy really wanted it, and he offered me like a lot of money for it. And I was that close to saying, all right, shipped, you got it, buddy. Send me the PayPal money, friends and family, and I said, my gut was like, don't do it. And I'm glad I did not do it.
So which company made that version of Pit that you're talking about? Because there hasn't been a lot of Pit figures, but there's been a couple.
Yeah, that's the Toy Biz one. The one from the Legendary Heroes / Pit from back in the day with Toy Biz.
Yeah. Okay.
The Build-A-Figure one.
Got you. Okay. Yeah, man, collecting regrets is tough. I think it's more of not buying something that I wish I had when I had the time or the money to do so, or but a lot of times now I ask myself, like, do I want to get rid of this figure in a year? If the answer is yeah, I don't even want to go through the trouble of like buying it. Like I'm just if I'm just gonna move it on, why even buy it and why even bother? So this is always really fun one. Has a friend ever gotten you into collecting a line that you otherwise were uninterested in?
Well, I wouldn't say I was uninterested. I wasn't really aware, and I hate to keep coming back to this Mythic Legion journey, but when I went to that, the gentleman that took me to the Denver Comic-Con in 2007, he's the one that turned me on to Legions or the Four Horsemen figures at that point, later on. And it was he that got me paying attention to the line. And then I basically, or Four Horsemen exactly, at that time, they were not making those figures, but because you got, you're talking about 25 years of Four Horsemen and 10 years of Mythic Legions. So as 2013, 2014, I was still short of that, but he's the one that later on down the road when Legions came out gave me a heads up and it's like, hey, have you seen these? And he sent me the Etheron, pictures on our phone around, that whole Gothotropolis, all the Gothotropolis. And I was like, man, these are really cool. Like, these are awesome. And so, so that would be my choice for that one.
Very cool. Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned what the year was, because I was about to follow that up with, well, was there a huge Mythic Legions presence in Denver? Because I'm glad you said it was 2013 because they wouldn't have been around. But yeah, because I had a friend of mine sort of similarly, just out of the blue, like last year, asked me if I wanted to go to Indiana Comic Con with him. It was called Indie Pop Con. He's like, I'm driving. It's 12 hours. I don't want to drive it by myself. You want to go with me? I'm like, yeah, let's just do it. I hate long car rides, and sure, whatever, let's go. And it was massive. It was huge. It had so many people there, so many vendors, so many stalls. It was massive. But there was only one. I think we covered the whole thing. There was only one vendor that I saw that was carrying Mythic Legions, and he had 3, and they were all like super easy to find, $40 figures, all in stock on Big Bad Toy Store. And he was like asking like $80 to $100 for them. And I'm like, you'll probably get it because nobody here clearly knows the value of these. You don't know the value of these. Like, you clearly don't know. Like, I can order all of them were like $39.99. One of them was like Valak. One of them was Debon. I'm like, they're solid figures, but I could, that's $40 all day long. But there wasn't a big, and so I've heard that once you get like further east or Midwest and further west, there's not a lot of Mythic like representation. Like, it doesn't get, they just don't make their way out there that much, which is kind of weird. So yeah,
I'm in a little hub out here. We got down up the road here. I've got I've got Roberto Suarez, the Puerto Rican.
Nice.
I've got Brian Von Burke Studios.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
He's literally like very close. And there's a couple handfuls of others that I've stumbled across. So there's a little tiny melting pot here in the between Portland and Seattle area. But not very much. And then you got to go down south. Then you got to hit LA. And hit that crew down there. And there's a little pocket down there, but you're absolutely correct. Like everything is pretty much east of the Mississippi River.
Yeah, it's kind of odd. All right, these are the tough ones. If you had to sell it all, had to sell it all, and you could only keep one toy line, what would it be?
Oh, I hate this question. I'm staying Four Horsemen. I'm staying with my legions.
Yeah.
As much as that Warhammer is behind my shoulder here, they're yelling at me right now, and I probably picked enemies against some very ruthless action figures. I'm probably doomed once we hang this video up here. But the end result is hopefully the legions and everyone will come to my battle here, and it'll be like the night at the museum, and we'll win out. But
Yeah, very
all the
nice.
way across.
I appreciate it. Yeah, that's a good one. Probably me too. If I had to get rid of it all and just focus on one, yeah, that'd probably be it as well. House is on fire. You can only grab one figure. You only save one. What's it going to be?
This might surprise you. I'm running with Sir Gideon's Heaven brand with his horse.
Hey, it's a good one.
When the pre-order came out for Necronominus, I'm a huge Skelly fan, right? And that's the faction. But this wave, and you've heard it before, you've seen it in other lives. This wave they jumped to the next level, and these knights.
Said that myself. Yeah.
Oh my God, these knights! Like I've always loved knights, right? But they are just absolutely flipping amazing,
Yeah.
like Sir Elijah, So there's so many. I mean, my spawn figures. Yeah, I got a bunch of different spawn figures, right? I've got a bunch of different Warhammer figures, and they're all really cool. There's some unique ones, and my Monster Force. I love some of those Monster Force figures and GI Joes. I mean, there's lots to sit there and say. But if I had to grab one that just is like a staple piece, like I know I go to my new house and I only have one figure that didn't melt in the fire. You know what I mean? I put Sir Gideon Heaven's brand on top of Bishop in my case, and I start my collection over again. It's not a bad way to start.
No. Yeah, no, that's a cornerstone. No, that's perfect. Mine's always gonna be the same. Mine is the Kenner Superpowers gray and blue Batman. That was my favorite as a kid. It's
Yeah, you like those. Yeah, I remember that.
That's my guy. But no, I do understand. Yeah. I always say like they jumped to a new level with this line, which is crazy because we're only about a year away from them jumping to double joints. And I was like, that would have been the next high water mark, but they've already hit it with this.
Yes.
Like, yeah, this line's pretty incredible. This wave is amazing. So, last question. What's your favorite thing about collecting?
Without a doubt, people like you, Mark.
Oh my gosh.
Seriously. I mean, this is what it's about. It's for me, and I explained a little bit about my past of the transformation I went through from being this big-hearted, geeky kid from North Chicago, and then went to be this Mr., tough guy, badass Marine cop, whatever you want to put it. And losing a part of myself, I also lost that community, and I also lost a lot of things that really meant a lot to me that I didn't realize I lost. I gained a whole new family and community, of course, and I very much value them, and they're still part of my life. But I found a happy medium when I came back, and you and all the other collectors, awesome collectors out there that just do this for the love of the art and for the love of nostalgia and the love of just hanging out with one another and just being kids again. I'm 56. I'm 56 years going. I'm 57 years old here next month. 3 years from 60 years old, and I feel like a kid. To me, that's a huge win.
Yeah, for sure. And there's not a lot of things in the world that can make you feel that way. That can hit you like that. I know. I'm next week's my birthday. I turned 49, and it's good to know that it's good to know that I can. I still got some good years left in me to be a collector, because I'm starting to look around and I'm start thinking, man, I'm gonna have to move some of this stuff for my kids, like, because they don't want it. Like, I don't want them to have to like get rid of all this stuff. So I'm like, I start thinning it down. So no, I know
Yeah.
exactly what you're talking about, man. Well, that's awesome, Blake. This has been a wonderful, wonderful conversation. I'm glad we were able to catch up and finally do this. I knew it was going to be. I knew I was going to have a blast, and I did. Run your social one more time. Instagram. It's what is it? One more time.
It's under Recon Rage page, but if you just Google Recon Rage, I think it's going to pull it up, no problem. And
Sweet.
yeah, that's the only one I got. But hey, you know what? It's enjoyable and it gives me that porthole to everybody.
Yeah, absolutely. And you and I could not be further apart. I am down in Florida, you're up in Oregon, and we'll probably never meet again until Legion's Con. That's probably where we're. But are you going to any cons this summer? Are you going to be in the Southeast at all?
No, no, I would love to. I think next year I'm going to try to schedule for ZoloCon as much as I've
I
seen
think I
now.
am too. I think I am too.
Yeah, so I think Robert or Uncle Bob's Finished Toys, me and him are really tight. So might go out there and then, hang out with them and him and Uncle Shelly, and then we never know. And then head down to ZoloCon and see the peeps. Might go to C2E2 because my family's back in Chicago, and that's in April.
Right.
So that is one that's becoming more a reality as the days have gone on, about me looking at plane fare and time off and stuff like that.
Yeah, yeah.
But otherwise, LC 25, Legions Con 25, that's going to be my big one.
Yep. I'll be there, and I too am looking forward to potentially hitting ZoloCon next year. My wife and I have never been to Pennsylvania, and we both want to go. We want to visit, so I think it's being able to see all my buddies at the beginning of the year and at the end of the year would be a nice way to bookend the whole year.
Right.
So
That's the way I
well,
look at
thank
it.
you,
Yeah.
Blake. Thanks for doing it. I really appreciate it. Everybody go and check him out and check out his toy photography, which is amazing, over on Recon Rage page at Instagram. Be sure to check us out on Instagram at Saturday Morning Toy Collector. Hey, Blake and I, we'll see you in the toy house. Bye, everybody.
Bye.